Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I have been doing some experimentation here to try to figure out what we've got going on. Now keep in mind, I'm new to a lot of these mods that we've got installed, and the vanilla Kerbal construction system does not work with the extraplanetary launchpad parts, such as this auger, and such as the lathe up here, or the forge, I believe. So at this point, we can hop on up over here, and I did some research and discovered that these are intended to be interacted with not via Kerbal construction, but via the Kerbal inventory system. So you can see this is the inventory here. You can hold the G key to go into grab mode, and then you can see here, this is currently too heavy for us to lift. So I looked at the auger out over here. The auger requires, and we're currently too far away, but the auger requires a tool. So we're probably going to have to bring a tool here. That's okay. We're going to do what we can here, get what we can set up, and bring back what we need. This is exactly the sort of problem that I wanted to find on this mission. I want to be very clear about that. This is exactly what we wanted to see. So this is the sort of thing that this pathfinding mission was intended to discover. Problems that would be much harder to solve on Duna than they are to solve here on the moon. So we can bring a second Kerbal up here. So that would be Jessely, and Jessely needs to have RCS on, and we're going to head on up over here. So here's a second Kerbal to assist. And the question is this going to require a tool now? Yes, this part cannot be detached without a tool. So that indicates to me that this it pretty much needs to remain where it's at for now. So what we're going to do for the moment is we are going to leave this here. We're going to have to, we fell a little faster than intended. We're going to need to put up a few parts here. I'm just going to put these onto the anchor here, and that's going to be mildly obnoxious. Okay, I want to get a little closer here, and I want to detach this. We're just going to take all of this apart for now, and we're just going to set it out over here. So we're going to treat this like a fairly standard... Well, okay then. Are you fine? Come here. Just go there. Thank you. We're going to treat this like a fairly standard moon mission at this point, or we could come back. That's also an option. We could bring another... There's a lot of parts here right now. Okay, Dunvan, you gotta hop down. So we could come back with another vehicle and land it here with the tool we need. It's also theoretically possible we might be able to construct that tool here through some shenanigans. I'm not sure exactly how that would go about working. So if we did this, right, that allows us to pick this up and put this into... we can attach it to ourselves. We don't necessarily want to do that. I'm just going to drop this right out over here. Okay, so we're too far away from this, but if we go into Kerbal construction, we can do this in Kerbal construction, no problem. So this is absolutely fine. We're just going to move these parts over here for now. And what I want to do is I want to simply attach these parts to this anchor point. So we're just going to put them here for now so that they're not going anywhere. I just don't want them, you know, flying all over the place while we are... Is there a radial attachment point on this? I don't actually know. A side attachment out over here? That would be ideal. We might be able to do that with... Oh, this is currently too heavy. We're a little out of range. Okay, that's fine. For now, I just want to get these attached, right? So we're just going to do this for the moment. So the question is, what kind of tool do we need for this? And we will figure that out in a moment here. So I want Jessely to come on over this way. And actually, we might be able to use Kerbal inventory system to set this up a little bit better here. Too far from target. Okay, let's just... Oh, that's changing the rotation in a very awkward fashion. But that actually allows us to just set that up. Okay, so that looks good. That's fine for now. I want to hop on over this direction. I still want to use, well, we don't need to use Kerbal Construction then. We can just use this. And it's probably a little less buggy than Kerbal Construction, if I had to guess. So we can just attach this right out over here, even though there's no attachment point. That did not actually attach. Okay, so we do need the attachment point. That's good to know. So if we instead were to attach this, because yeah, there's no attachment point there. If we attached it here, yeah, it just falls off. Okay, so that is absolutely fine. If we do this in Kerbal Construction, you can see the attachment point is down here, and we can't attach this thing radially. So for the moment, I'm just going to leave it right over here. That's fine. So we've got this in a kind of neat stack. That looks fine. And I want to hop back to the Space Center real quick here. We're going to come back to this, and we're going to run our science. We're going to set up our EVA science. That's all fine. We can definitely do that. But we're going to have to bring this flight back eventually, or bring a new flight out to the moon that just carries the tool that we need. Or we could maybe... Oh, we've got this bug going on where it doesn't light the world. Okay, that's exciting. That happens occasionally. I don't know why. We'll just hop into the VAB. It's not a big deal. It's just a visual bug. Okay, so in the VAB here, what I want to see is the tools that we would need. So this is a mallet to drive survey stakes into the ground. I don't think we need that right now. This is survey stakes intended to mark out locations for grounded construction projects. Pointy end into ground, not eyes. Okay. So that's understood. So those aren't the tools that we need, I don't think. Hang on, let's just search for tool. Ah, here we go. So this is a utility wrench, and this is an electric screwdriver. This is standard explosives. Okay, so we probably need either the electric screwdriver or the utility wrench, would be my guess. The question is, can we get that with what we have on the surface of the moon right now? My theory is no. Because we can't detach the auger? Wait a second. I'm getting an idea. I am getting an idea here. Let me think this through a moment. We need to go over to the Lunar Lander and fly this. This is going to be slightly cheesy, but I think we might be able to pull this off. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. We're going to need to get our augers going right now, which we were able to do. I did test that off camera. We had a very small rate of ore that we were getting from our auger. So we're going to load this in. We're going to get our augers going that we cannot detach. So we'll start the auger, and we'll start this auger, which apparently this one doesn't have ground contact. Oh, okay, that's fine. Apparently this one doesn't have ground contact either. This one does. Okay, so we've got two augers here, and then that is going to be going into this hexcan metal ore small. So we're going to have that happen. Then what we're going to need to do is we're going to hop over to one of our engineers. I don't care which one. Dunvan, sure, you'll do. So Dunvan is going to head off over this direction, and the question is, can we detach one of these? With either Kerbal Construction or Kerbal Inventory System. We'll find out. If we can, then we can get the ore over to our other vehicle. Now, I know that you can consolidate together these vehicles in some way, so this part can't be detached without a tool. And we can't detach it in Kerbal Construction mode. Okay. So with that being the case, we're going to have to bring some tools here. Okay. So the question then becomes, do we want to bring up a quick, very small vehicle in order to do this? And if we do, what other components might we want to bring? Electricity on our Lunar Lander is running out. Okay, we can just extend these solar panels, and that'll fix that problem. Okay, so back to the Mooner Lander here. This is not the Mooner Lander. Hang on. Yeah, there's all of these parts here. Back to the Mooner Lander, we can just extend out these Gigantors. We should be absolutely fine on our power now. Yeah, the Gigantors will do the trick in that regard. So to that end, we're probably going to need to bring a vehicle over, and we want these guys to be ensconced within their life support place, right? So we're going to need to... actually, we need to be in the Mooner Lander at this point. We need to check here to see what our crew is like. We currently have only Pabus in here. Okay, that's perfect. So we need to re-embark our engineers for now. Well, actually, what we should probably do at this moment is we should come in here and start setting up some of this stuff. So we can do this. It's going to be a bit of a jaunt, but that's okay. So we're going to have these last few bits of Kerbal science that we set up. Actually, there's more than a few here. But we know that we're going to need to bring a drill or a screwdriver. We should probably bring both just to be on the safe side. And we need to be able to disassemble this, right? So lesson learned that we're going to need that, but at least we now have a solution. So that is absolutely great. I'm just going to set this up over here. Okay, and we'll run on back. This is not going to be the fastest thing in the world. I don't really want to physics warp here because we've got some potential problems. And yeah, I don't think we have any of the equipment that we need to join these together with the Kerbal attachment system. I'm pretty sure we'd have to make some of that. So that pretty much requires that we bring tools. So that's understood. So back over here, we've got this guy here. There we go. And we'll get him set up out over this way. And we should probably set up our Communitron as well with our engineers. And then we can have our scientist set up the rest of this, I think. And our scientist is going to be responsible for grabbing our EVA report and our surface sample and things like that. So then the question becomes, do we want to abort this current landing, come back with tools, and basically the same vehicle? And refresh our life support? That is definitely an option. I don't know if it's a good one, because we could just bring the tools over. We could... I'm just thinking here about what we need to run each of these. We could attach them up here, but I don't necessarily think that's a great idea either. That would give us some amount of life support, but again, I think that would be problematic. So for the moment, we're going to head on out over this direction. But now that we know how to utilize the Kerbal inventory system, that's great. I don't know how to utilize Kerbal attachment system. I think that we are likely missing some tools for that. We'll figure that out eventually, but I definitely ran across some people mentioning that that's a thing that we should probably consider doing at some point. So that is on the list of things to learn how to do, but right now I'm not aware of that, but we'll get there. We will get there. So for now, let's put the antenna here. And then we can head on back over. So that'll be fine. Excellent. And we can then re-embark these guys, get all of our science done. I'm actually thinking about having this vehicle go back home. How much Delta V do we have in it? That's an interesting question, actually. Well, for now, let's just grab our jetpack, and the rest of that should be doable to set up with a scientist. So yeah, that'll be okay. We're just going to hop on up here. RCS on. And let's get turned here. And we'll grab on. Turn on your RCS. Don't destroy the Gigantor. We grabbed, but we didn't actually grab. So, apparently Jessely is bad at grabbing. That's good to know. Okay. That time we grabbed. Perfect. So now we're in, and how much DV do we have here? 92 meters per second and 874. It's enough to get back. It is enough to get back. So that is actually an option. And we would get a bunch more science from doing that. Maybe it's not a bad idea, because that would allow us to bring a couple of additional parts as well. I think we'd have the science for that. Whoa, Dunvin. That's one way to do things. So I broke this Gigantor. It's not the end of the world. We're going to be ditching the Gigantor anyway, most likely. So, Dunvin, please don't do that in the future. I don't even know how you did that. The physics was questionable. Okay, now he's breaking... Okay, he's doing this on purpose. Dunvin, you're a problem. Let's... Dunvin? He has a questionable grasp of physics. Oh, okay. This is one way to do things, I guess. This is definitely not how physics works, Dunvin. That's pretty broken. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to hop in here. We happen to have an EVA repair kit, so I'm going to do that. There we go. And I'm going to repair... Oh, this guy is not a high enough engineer. Okay, so we're going to need to swap these back out. There we go. And we're going to have to use a higher level engineer. That's okay. So we'll hop in here. And we'll have Jessely EVA. Okay, Jessely is now going to do this. I'm just going to repair this one and this one. I'm not going to extend them at this time. So we'll board here, and then we need to get a scientist out. So we would need to transfer around some Kerbals. I don't think we can do this, really. So, not a gun we would want to transfer up to here, but this part is full. So, Jessely is going to EVA. And here we go. Now we're going to need to transfer not a gun up. Okay, and then we're going to transfer Dunvin down. We should be done for now with our engineers here. We're going to have to come back to this, so that'll be absolutely fine. Okay, now we need Jessely to hop back in. If we can get to Jessely. There we go. Jessely's going to hop back in, and Notagun is going to hop out. Now, she's not a very good scientist. She has no experience, but that's okay for now. So we're going to hop down here. And we're going to start setting up the rest of our EVA science. This does eventually need to get done. So that sounds good. We're going to hop on out over this direction. And then, yeah, I think we're going to bring this back. Well, we do need to set up a flag. We can definitely have Notagun do that. This is a little bit of a journey here. Oh, that's exciting. Apparently my mute button decided to stop working. Okay, cool. I apologize for that then. Well, what we're going to do then is we are going to put out our seismometer. There we go. Might as well grab our EVA report and our surface sample. Cool. We'll grab another one of those a little later on. For now, I want to go ahead and plant this flag. And we are going to call this site the Colony of Problems. Perfect. Okay, so that looks good. We're going to plant that. That'll get us this contract completed. So that's great. Now we're going to need to get additional science set up here and then get these guys heading back. Now, there's not really a reason to have these augers still running, to be honest. So we may want to turn these off, at least once we get up over here. Okay, but like I said, this is the exact kind of problem that I wanted to discover in the pathfinding colony here. So this is good. This is a very, very solvable issue. I'm deeply unconcerned about that. So that all seems absolutely great for now. Let's head on over to here and get our, what is this, experiment control station set up. Yeah. So we're going to get that set up right over here. We should see plenty of power on hand, and this of course means that we're not going to have to bring these components back again, although I think no, we have the ionographer. So we shouldn't have to bring any more of these EVA components. So that's absolutely fine. In fact, once we get this set up, I believe we'll be able to construct anything that we need on the surface here, assuming that we have sufficient parts, right? Sufficient components. So that sounds good. Let's just get the last few of these set up. I wish it wasn't quite so far away. I wish I'd chosen a less distant site, but we've only got 3 more of these to do. So let's just get that done nice and quickly, and then we will stow our experiments as best we can and get out of here. We will have some experimentation to do before we leave, so that's absolutely fine. And there's some little bits of detritus around from Dunvan's rampage, so, you know, that's a little awkward. Okay, so the colony of problems will probably continue to be problematic, and that's exactly what we want. We wanted a location that's nice and close so that we can either bring new things out or just bail if the situation called for it. And to be clear, I don't think that the situation calls for bailing here necessarily, but I'm going to do it anyway, not because I'm concerned about life support or anything like that. I think we could get those parts here very, very easily and not have any concerns about life support. It's actually more of a science issue than anything else. There's a lot of additional science here. We're on the far side crater. We don't have any science from here right now. And if we recover this science, we're going to be in a better situation. So that's why I want to bring this crew back and send them back up with tools and try this again. That would be the overall idea there. But now that we know that those tools are necessary for future flights, we can just include the tools like in here or something. Actually, I think that was full, but we can include the tools in one of our locations anyway. Okay, so we should have a decent number of connected experiments over here. This is now, I think, 3 connected experiments, and there's 1 more that we're going to get. So that'll be fine. We'll have to do some science management here, and for the next flight, we wouldn't actually need necessarily to bring this, but we will anyway because I want the number of Kerbals to be 5. So that'll be okay, but we can definitely drop this container module as well as potentially a couple of other things overall. This antenna would likely not be necessary, and if we weren't planning on coming back, none of this would be necessary up here. Scientific instrumentation probably wouldn't be necessary. That would save us a decent amount of cost. That's for sure. We would bring a fairly bare bones setup because we're expecting to be able to construct more things on the surface. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this up, and let's see how many connected experiments we have. As long as we're not stuck. There we go. Okay, what do we got here? So we've got 3 connected experiments right now. We're expecting 4. It might be that this one, connection state connected. Connected, connected, connected. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not sure why this is only saying 3, but they're all saying that they're connected. It might be because this one's not a valid experiment situation. That's a possibility. So we knew that that would be the case. That is absolutely expected. We've got our ionographer and our Guab ED monitor. Those are the things that are actually very important here. The seismometer, we may or may not get any science from that. We'll see. Okay, so there's all of our EVA science set up, at least. And now we know how the Kerbal inventory system works, so that is absolutely fantastic. This part can't be detached without a tool. That's interesting, because we don't need a tool to detach it with Kerbal construction. Huh. Well, that's neat. So we're back now, and we're going to grab these bits here. There we go. And Not-A-Gun is then going to jump on up here. And we're going to head up to the Science Junior here. We'll restore that. Okay, and then we're going to grab here, and I'm going to board. Now I'm going to board. There we go. So we'll grab our crew report, we'll grab our temperature scan, we'll grab our atmospheric pressure scan, mystery goo observation, and materials study. We'll keep those experiments for now. There we go. And then Not-A-Gun can hop out again and grab another surface sample. We need to be... this is a lot of various little parts here. That's Not-A-Gun there. Come on, where's our lander? It's here somewhere. Is this it? Yes, this is it. Okay. So I want to grab all of our data here that we can. There we go. And then we want to go back to Not-A-Gun. Eventually, this will be consolidated down to far fewer parts and won't be a problem. So that'll be fine. I want to hop down here, open up our service bay. And I'd like to turn off these augers. That would be a good thing to do for sure. Let's just hop over here for now. Restore our mystery goo containment unit. We'll observe the mystery goo. And we'll keep that experiment. We're kind of awkwardly stuck here. What are you doing, Not-A-Gun? Not-A-Gun. There we go. Okay. Do we have the data from this? I have no idea. I got kind of distracted by what Not-A-Gun was doing. Okay, there we go. So we'll restore that. And we now want to hang out here for a moment, restoring this Science Junior. And we'll conduct that material study. Eventually. We'll keep that experiment. Collect the data and restore. While that's happening, we're going to hop up over here and store that data in... it should already be in here. So we should have to come here and store experiments. There we go. And now we should want to come back down. These are restored, aren't they? So now we can board. So we'll grab here. That's not exactly what we wanted. We can grab the surface sample, but I don't think we have anywhere to store it. Correct. Okay. So that looks good. We'll stop the auger here. We'll stop this auger. And this one. And this one. We don't have anything to do with this ore, so that's fine for now. So from here, we're pretty much ready to take off. Let's retract these solar panels for the moment, and we're going to be ditching a lot of this stuff, right? This is going to go away pretty quickly, in fact. But we need to bring these guys back home. And that's absolutely fine. Oh, this Communitron is broken as well. Okay. Well, Dunvin really did a number on all of this stuff. It's fine. It's fine. So we're going to head on back, and I want to bring those tools next time, and we won't need the science. So that'll be fine. But it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to bring these guys back, come back with tools. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.